Welcome to Visualize, the podcast where collaboration fuels change. I'm your host, Chris Baker, and each week we'll explore incredible connections between nonprofits, businesses, and the community. This is a space where we highlight inspiring partnerships, uncover strategies for creating meaningful impact, and share stories that show how working together can make all the difference. Whether you're a nonprofit leader, a business owner, or someone just passionate about building connections, this podcast is for you. Welcome back to Visualize. Today I have Denise Panariello from Bit by Bit. And tell us about your organization.
Sure, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Yes, pleasure.
I'm excited to be here. At Bit by Bit, we are a nonprofit organization that provides therapy and therapeutic horseback riding to individuals with disabilities, starting as young as 18 months, going all the way through the lifespan. So we provide healing with the help of a horse.
I love that. I actually had that opportunity back in Minnesota. That was one of the most interesting, because honestly, if they're comfortable with you and they connect with you, that energy is so powerful. It really is.
It truly is. And at Bit by Bit, we take it even a step further. So we provide occupational, physical, and speech therapy. So not only are we looking at the emotional impact, because there's no denying that the being around the horse and the psychosocial aspect, it just is so calming and makes us feel great. But we are also looking at the physical impact that the horse's movement has on an individual's body. So by putting, for example, a child who has cerebral palsy, who may have an uneven walking pattern, one side of their body is different than the other. By sitting on the horse and moving, the horse's movement gives them a symmetrical walking pattern that mimics the typical human gait pattern. And there are so many other ways that we can incorporate tapping into their sensory systems for children on the autism spectrum who have sensory integration issues. And so there's just so many magnificent ways that the horse can help in individuals with that.
So I have to go back, because I've only had the opportunity to actually be on a horse once, and it was the most magical moment for my brain. So I had just read 11 books from this author that just had amazing ability to talk about horses and how they connect with humans, and they have the ability to talk to their companions.
Oh, I love that.
It's an amazing series. So shout out to Mercedes Lackey and read her books. The first one is the Queen's Arrow trilogy. Wonderful. Take a look at it. Amazing. Heading back to here, but that was the first time that I actually understood what you're talking about. I wanted to feel that connection. So when I got on the horse for the first time, it was completely in sync. The horse understood who I was, how the movement needed to be. It was so unique. Obviously, this wasn't necessarily, the same type of, work that they do, because it was just, going out for a ride. But the horse understood. They have such inept ability to work with your body. Oh, absolutely no.
There's no judgment. There's no preconceived notions. There's no expectations. It is just, am I safe? Okay. Yeah. You're not here to hurt me. Let's go. And that is one of the things that makes it so remarkable. There's no judgment. There's no what's the word I'm looking for?
Ego? No
ego. None at all. And so the kids sense that too. So
absolutely.
They also automatically connect. Because, living in a world where they have teachers telling them what to do, parents, they have rules to follow, and then when they get with the horse, it is just a safe space. It's just a quiet space. The nonverbal communication, horses have a very powerful way of communicating with us without saying a word. And you pair that with a child who is also nonverbal, and watching the connection and the communication that happens between the two is remarkable.
Oh, Absolutely. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So, as you're building bit by bit, what are the collaborations that you've had the opportunity to work with?
So, there's so many other organizations and people that we collaborate with on a regular basis. And um, some of our biggest ones are with our local universities.
Oh,
So we provide clinical fieldwork opportunities for occupational therapy and physical therapy students. So we collaborate with University of Miami's physical therapy department, Nova University, FIU's nursing department. Actually, they come to us for volunteer community service hours, as well as Kaiser University. We've even had some out of state come as well for their doctorate in occupational therapy capstone projects that they
oh,
do. Other organizations, we also have partnered with the Dan Marino Foundation, as well as there's a school in Miami, the Marion Center, where they have an adult day program, and we collaborate with them where we do 3 6-week sessions a year. And they come once a week for 2 hours, and we have a whole program dedicated just for them as well. Um, One of my most meaningful collaborations is with the Morency family.
mm,
And Bob and Vicky Morency, especially, they they lost their daughter in 2003. She was 17 years old, and she was um, a devoted horseback rider. And they suffered a tragedy that none of us would ever want to have to go through. Um, and in honor of her memory, every year since their loss, they hold an annual fundraiser event to raise money for nonprofits and to provide healing to others as well. For the past 8 years, Bit by Bit has been so fortunate and honored to be the recipient and the beneficiary of this annual event. It has grown over just the past 8 years alone. You know, we started where we had about 400 guests, and this past event we had about 1,200 guests there. It was
wow.
amazing. And you know, the collaboration with Bob and Vicky has grown so much more as well. You know, they're almost like family, and I love them dearly. And we are in the middle of a big project. We're looking to build a covered arena. We right now have a very open arena, no shade, open to the elements.
Hmm.
And I had found out recently that Meggan's dream was always to have her own facility. She always wanted to have a place of her own where she can teach others her love and her passion of riding horses. And she wanted to train horses and train children. And in collaboration with them, we are going to make Meggan's dream come true. And we are about to start construction on the Meggan Morency Riding Arena. And we're looking to break ground in April. And this is because of that relationship that we have with them and some committed members on the Meggan Morency Wild West Night Committee. Some of these individual members have put their heart and soul into this project and have been reaching out to and coming up with different collaborations with construction companies, electricians, for the foundation that we need, for the surveys that needed to be done. And in speaking with them, you know it is such a heart project for them that people are donating their time, they're donating their services, they're reducing cost as much as they possibly can to
Hmm.
help make this a reality for us and for the Morency family.
So that's one of the most important pieces that, I really want to hopefully get out to everyone else. Obviously, this kind of a project is going to cost a lot of money. However, there's other resources like you're talking about that people can help donate supplies, donate their time, volunteer, come help build, if you have that opportunity to do so. These are all amazing collaborative opportunities. So I really hope that, more people, especially if they have the love of horses,
Yes.
can also join in. I think this is fantastic.
Yes, it's a really great project, and it is just so remarkable to see this coming together. I
Yeah.
mean, my heart is so full, and I am in such complete awe of what is happening on this project that I'm, sometimes a little speechless, which is really interesting. Not much
No.
leaves me speechless. But yeah, it's remarkable. And it's because of the support of our community and our community partners. We couldn't do it without them.
Right. Yeah, we have to give a lot of thanks to the people that are, stands beside your nonprofit and any nonprofit. Those community partners are so valuable.
Right.
So valuable. I remember when you were talking about this the first time, we were actually at one of your meetings and you told it to me, and I was just like in shock. I was like, this is going to be amazing. And one of the things that you mentioned to me that day is like, you have to limit right now the amount of time that you're actually with the individuals and the horses, because that too much sun, it actually is causing too much, on them.
And stress on the horse and stress on their riders.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the individuals that come to us have medical conditions where they are greatly affected by the heat. So we have to modify the sessions. We were just calculating, and I'm sure I'm still underreporting the amount, but we're looking at there's approximately 1,200 sessions a year, if not closer to 1,500, that we have to modify throughout the summer because of the heat.
When you say modify, what do you mean specifically? Like, you have to reduce the amount of time?
We have to
let
reduce
breaks?
the amount of time on the horse.
Okay.
And the horse and their movement is what is most impactful in their therapy session.
Right.
But we do have to limit the amount of time that they are on the horse in the heat for both the horse, the rider, and my staff and volunteers as well. My staff and volunteers are doing back-to-back sessions. So we have to make sure we're taking care of everyone. And the horses overheat, the children overheat. So we have to minimize the time on the horse, and then we do other activities inside under the fans or in the air conditioning, sometimes under the hoses too. The kids like that. That's fun. But yeah, so we have to modify the sessions as opposed to the majority of their session being on the horse, how it is, this time of year when it's beautiful out.
Yeah, this is probably a lot easier on, everybody, the staff, the horses, and the riders themselves. But my other question with that too now is, you're getting this covered facility. How does that impact the amount of time that you can actually now go do full sessions without having to do modifications? Do you have like a rough number of hours that's going to make a difference?
For starters, those 1,200 plus sessions, we wouldn't have to modify.
Yeah.
They would be able to stay on as they would the rest of the year. Then rain is the other. Sometimes we have to cancel altogether.
Oh.
We try not to,
yeah.
But sometimes we just, a lot of patients cancel when it rains because they can't leave their house as well. But we wouldn't have to at all with that. Obviously severe weather warnings, we still follow all the guidelines there, but it rains every day in Florida in the summer as well. So we've had to, stop sessions. We have had to have some cancellations, and we wouldn't have to do any of that. Yeah. We would be able to continue to work under most conditions, which would be so impactful for us. And not to mention also the growth that we're looking at with some of the other modifications we're looking at doing as well. I'm looking to build some more classroom type space to have some other programs. We want to start offering more mental health programs in our
valuable.
Future is definitely a goal of mine of what I want to see happen, and just some other wellness programs. We're looking at doing team building, retreats, as well as workshops, educational workshops. A big part of our mission is educating the next generation. So we want to be able to hold different workshops, whether it's horse training or wellness training. As occupational therapists, we are very holistic in the treatment that we provide, and we look at the entire human all the way around. So how can we do better? How can we help individuals? And so we're looking at building other programming as well.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I mean, obviously this is not going to happen overnight.
No, no.
As much as we would love to
I
like
know, I'm a little
speed through it.
impatient.
I think we all are. I think this is the day and age at this point where we're like instant gratification. Like, yep,
Yep.
snap my fingers. I'm going to wake up in the morning. Everything is done. So I can just move forward. But how long is this project do you think it's going to take?
So
At least for the covered.
For the cover,
Yeah.
we're looking. Actually, this is happening very quickly. It's happening much faster than I even anticipated. So fast that we haven't even been able to officially launch a capital campaign for it. So,
well, that's a good thing.
It is a very good thing. I'm not complaining in the least about it. But so we are looking at breaking ground in April, and it should be up and done before June. So
wow.
Yeah, this is like I said, this is happening very quickly.
This is happening as we speak right now. Wow, that's amazing.
It is. And a little overwhelming at times, but at the same time in a good way.
Yeah.
Because this is just going to help us. There's no downside to having this covered arena.
No, I can see so many benefits. And you were talking, so I'm just like racking numbers in my head because you were saying modifying hours for, 12 to 1,500 sessions throughout the course of a year. You're probably adding an extra 600 to 900 hours of actual like therapy that's going to go back into this community and back to those riders. That's impactful.
Yes. Yeah.
So, wow. One of the other questions that we ask is always about some of the challenges that you're facing or lessons that you've learned. So hopefully you can kind of give us some insight, like either if it's been through a collaboration or if it's been through some type of just overall general complication.
So when you work with horses, especially, there's so many life lessons learned.
Sure.
And there's always challenges, especially when you pair horses with children as well. When we've learned to adapt, always be adaptable, to go with the flow. You go in with a plan, but you have to be willing and ready to adapt that plan at any given moment. One of the biggest life lessons learned is, you got to get back in the saddle. Life is going to throw you a few bucks. Hold on tight. You may even fall off. And if you do, you need to just get back in the saddle, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
And it really, when it actually happens, you learn very quickly with it. The biggest challenges as a whole in being a nonprofit organization is funding is always an issue. Finding donors, finding grants to be able to continue to provide the services. We are a fee-for-service program, but 100% of all of our services are subsidized. So the fundraising and the sponsorships and donations allows us to keep it subsidized to bridge the gap, because we do bill insurance for our services, but technically speaking, we lose money on every session that we have. So having the funding sources to bridge that gap so we can continue at a subsidized rate. We pride ourselves in that we haven't had to raise our cost to our families in over 10 years. And that's despite the increase in cost to us. It's no secret. The prices of gas, the prices of feed, all of these things that are affected. It costs us $3,000 a month just to feed our horses.
Oh, yeah.
And so even though a lot of the companies that we work with, like our manure removal, things like that, their gas costs went up. So they needed to increase, the price there. But because we've had such supportive donors and we've had this remarkable fundraising event, that we've been able to continue to maintain it at a low cost for families.
Not raising it in 10 years is quite remarkable. I mean, so much has, I'm like just trying to think of the dates. So much has happened in 10 years, and inflation has brought up prices
COVID.
dramatically. COVID was a whole nother topic that we had to all go through, and it was very challenging. Were you able to even work during COVID?
We were, because we are a healthcare facility
Okay.
as well, and we're providing a medical treatment. We were able, with protocols in place, we were able
Right.
to continue. And it was actually quite appealing to a lot of families as well, because it's outdoors.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have to worry about being in clinics or hospitals where you're in enclosed rooms with other individuals. So we followed protocols. We kept our sessions spaced apart. We only had 1 to 2 individuals there at a time, so we were able to maintain a great distance from each other, and it's all outside. So we were able to, like everyone, though, it affected us. We did not go unscathed, but we were able to continue. And then we recovered from it well also.
Well, and I think that probably the fact that you were able to keep your doors open the entire time really helped make the transition after COVID really kind of released itself from our major life.
Yeah, I know there were quite a few families that returned to us before they returned to their more traditional therapies as well, and because of the being outdoor factor.
Oh, yeah. I think that just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Obviously, during
There's a lot of fear. There was a lot of, and a lot of uncertainty. So, but, everybody came through, and we're still treating.
So kind of going back to the complication or lessons learned, I am going to has there been any partnership that you wish you had had a different conversation to make it easier? Like it made the whole entire process that you're trying to work with them structured, because a lot of the times that sometimes like for-profit companies, they want to help, but they don't listen to what you need. And we would love to change that script so that conversation is happening correctly from the beginning, so that we can really, make sure that you're getting what you need.
There probably were quite a few that I can't pinpoint exactly, but especially when I first took over as executive director. It was a new role for me. It was, I was learning a lot myself, and I didn't know exactly what I needed at that time. And it was really trying to plan things out. And I've probably had a lot of missed connections during that time, because I wasn't clear on what we needed just yet to be able to convey that.
Gotcha.
And I think that, I've learned a lot myself. I have a great team, both above me, and around me. I am surrounded by wonderful people. I am a sponge. I love to learn. So just being able to learn the ins and outs, I'm a therapist by trade. I went to school to be a therapist. When it came to the other end of it, it was a challenge for me. And so I may have lost some connections at that point for me. But live and learn,
we have to.
If anybody listens to this, that was one of those misconnections. I would love to reconnect. I've learned a lot since then. And it was putting my why and my vision out there and trying to really solidify it. And I even drew myself a little map on a piece of paper that has my whole vision on it, what I was looking for, that helped guide me to be able to better ask for what we need.
And I think that's very, very important to recognize that, hey, even as a leader, we might have one direction, and then we're like, that wasn't exactly how I needed to convey it. And I've made that mistake, and I think everybody has made that mistake. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think that was a very valuable life lesson. I hope that they do kind of reach back out and go, all right, let's have another conversation, see what happens. And starting in a new role, it can be challenging, because, you're taking over this whole new responsibility for whatever project you're taking on, whatever organization you're taking on, especially as executive director. You have all these different ideas that were once in place, but now are those same pieces going to give you the opportunity to grow, and you have to reevaluate that. And so that taking that into consideration, and the fact that you're looking at all these amazing steps that you're moving forward in, you've taken those lessons, you've worked with them, and you're making a huge difference.
And I'm still learning.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
We always learn.
I'm still learning. And, but one of the biggest things that I know is I'm not alone, and it's not just me. So there's a whole team. I have a whole team with me that is making all of this happen. So I don't even feel right taking full responsibility for the progress that we're making. And as I'm learning, though, it's bringing in the right people who are on board with the mission and are mission driven and are, on our side with the vision that we have and the growth that we have. And I have a remarkable team, like starting with our founding members, to my board of directors, to all of the staff, volunteers. None of this happens without all of them.
It's so huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to even think of the word in my head, but the only word that can come to mind right now is the team that I'm getting to work with on Visuals by Momo is the backbone. Like,
absolutely,
I cannot do what we're able to do as an organization without their help. And so the one thing that I love is I try to make sure that they're included in conversations, that they understand what's going on. I have full transparency with them, and I'll be like, hey, here's where we're at. You're not my employee. You're a part of the team.
Absolutely.
And I think that's when organizations and businesses can really thrive.
Yeah. We have weekly staff meetings to make sure that happens.
That's great.
Because we have equine partners. We have 9 horses on site right now. There's a lot that goes into that, and we have to make sure that we're all on the same page. We're all, and everybody knows what's going on. And I've been fully transparent with anything happening on the back end with them. I keep them in the loop. And so I hope that they feel a part of it as well. I try not to make any decisions without their input as well.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So before, I'm going to actually cut this line out because I'm going to start over with the so, but so how do people get in contact with you? How can they reach out to either volunteer or assist or help in any way?
The easiest way is to visit our website at bitbybittherapy.org. All of the information is on there: how to donate, how to register to be a participant in our program, how to volunteer. If you want any further questions, all the information, call our office. If we are out with horses, we can't always answer the phone, but we do we make it a point to call everyone who leaves a message back, and we can answer any questions that they have. We also welcome visitors to come see. We can't, during our set program hours, we can't always give a tour, but we welcome families to come to observe and talk to other families. Other families are our biggest advocate. I have one participant who's been with us for 25 years. And, so I encourage them to come talk to the families that are sitting out at the picnic tables. They would be happy to share their experiences with them. And then, of course, if we're available, we would be happy to give them a tour and talk about details. If they want to schedule an appointment to come out where we can give a more detailed tour, I encourage that as well. We have open door policy.
That's amazing. Do you have like a phone number or an email that would be beneficial to reach out?
Sure. Yes. Our phone number is 754-779-7888, or they can email info@bitbybittherapy.org.
Perfect. All right. So our last question is, what is the legacy that you personally want to leave for future generations?
That is a really hard question for me
I get
to
that a
answer.
lot. I get that a lot. Everyone's like, it's a good question, but it's a hard question.
Yes, it is, because I don't want to leave something personally. Like I said before, I don't feel that this is a me show. It's the teamwork, and I do hope that should I not be around, that continues. That people always see that there needs to be full collaboration across the board for this to happen, and that it is really important that all members on that team are mission and vision focused, because that is where we see the most success, is when people who truly believe in what we do and witness it hands on. That's where the biggest connections are made.
So you just answered it anyway. Do you know what I mean? You realize that, your legacy that you want to leave is the power of collaboration.
Well, I guess when you put it that way,
then
I hope so.
Yeah, I love that. I think that was very beautifully stated, because
thank you.
It's not always about us, but it's how we can help other people feel that's going to be life-changing. And if we can make them feel that, she gave me a chance, she worked with me, she gave me a new way of thinking, all of those are just so valuable. So valuable. So thank you so much, Denise, for joining me today on Visual Eyes, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Visual Eyes. We hope that the inspiration and practical insights can help you foster stronger connections and meaningful change. Don't forget to subscribe, share the episode, and leave us a review. To learn more about Visuals by Momo and how we support collaboration and storytelling, visit visualsbymomo.com. A huge thank you to everyone out there listening. Until next time, remember, collaboration fuels change, and your connections can inspire the world.